Oh, hey there, folks. Well, this is not the video I meant to do this week. Unfortunately, I ran into a lot of drying issues. Yeah, we'll just start with that and call that good. Yeah. It's part of the thing with making terrain. Sometimes you hit a snag and that stuff just goes cattywampus, and then there you are. So what I thought I would do instead is go over some of the basic materials that I've used over the years, and some pros and cons about those. This may this may seem rather elementary to some of you. If it is, I do apologize. For those of you who are newer, this might be helpful. So here we go. I'm gonna kind of hold them up one at a time and kind of in order of progression that I've used them over the years. And yeah, we'll just go from way back in the day when I first started, the old cardboard, right? This is the single corrugation cardboard. This is what you get off of your Amazon packages and stuff. I would never use this to base again. Double gated double corrugated cardboard. I would definitely. You can use it, but there's a way that to use that where you'd have to have the corrugation running one way and then turn it another way. When to basically you'd have to double stack it, or excuse me, that's what you'd have to do with this to double stack it. But the warping problem with cardboard like this is just too horrific for me to use on a regular basis. Now, if I'm looking for sheet metal, right, the corrugation here that you see is perfect. This is really good stuff for doing sheet metal. If you happen to have the rolls of corrugated card that you would get at Michael's or something like that, perfect. This stuff, you can use it. I've used it in the past, but it is a bugger to get off of here. So bear that in mind. You can do it. It will take some work, and it will take some very artistic words of color. It's probably the best way I can put it. And but yeah, you can get it done. This has but this has got a lot of multiple different applications. It is still a good crafting material, especially if you just need something in bulk to bulk up an area and stuff. Perfect, you know. But if for a foundation for any type of base, not my recommendation. I wouldn't use this stuff for anything personally. But so the next bit is foam board, right? Basic standard construction material that we use a lot for buildings and that type of stuff. This particular foam board I've got, I don't know if you can see it, but this has got ghosted lines on it. I came across this several years ago and thought that, wow, that's great. I could just use the graph. If you're not going to be overly precise, yes, you can. If you want to be more precise, no, you cannot, because the way the graph lays out and the way things cut, the lines are thicker than what you would think, and so your measurements may be off a little bit. So if you're very OCD into, I need to have this thing at exactly these dimensions, don't rely on this. Use it as a guide, definitely. Make sure your lines are straight and all that, but for precise measurements at quarter-inch or half-inch squares, it's going to be off a touch. So just bear that in mind. I have used this in the past for basing material. I won't use this again for basing material. This stuff is will warp on you. You can probably put duct tape on the back of it. It might pull. It might keep the pull of warping. Keep that down to a minimum. But ultimately, anymore, it's not worth the hassle for me. Um, and I'd rather spend a couple extra bucks to get something that I know is going to be reliable and is going to hold its shape as a base. And that's what's more important to me right now. Um, the less hassle I have to deal with, especially as I get older, the less grumpy I am throughout the day. So, but still, I mean, if this is what you got, then this is what you got. Yeah, if this is what you're going to work with, cool. This one, I would also look at if you're going to use it. If you can find a little bit thicker foam board, definitely go with that. The thinner stuff will bow. The thinner stuff will bow up on you. So yeah, if you're going to use it as a base, double it up. Get hold of some type of good adhesive. Make sure it's all mashed together before you cut your shapes and all that type of thing. Just my 2 coppers into the plate with that one. This is a newer product. It's not a newer product to me. That's probably the best way to put this. This is medium weight graphics chipboard, I think is what it's called. Basically, it's thick cardboard. Okay. I've seen guys use this for D&D terrain. Excuse me. I've seen guys use this for D&D terrain. This stuff is nice. It's thick. It reminds me of the stuff at the back of the legal pads. And that is, it's decent thickness. This stuff will warp up if you use the same type of terrain making that I do, which is a lot of layering with waters and washes and PVA glue and all that. But as just a general base, like underneath, say I was going to have a rock formation here, but not worry about outside around this area, that's okay. That's all right. I would definitely use Mod Podge and maybe some black paint or something like that. The main reason I use the black paint, sorry to sidetrack on you, welcome to the elderly, but the main reason for the black paint for me is to see where I've covered. That's the primary reason. The added tone and stuff like that, that's an extra bonus. But putting this underneath it here is fine if you wanted to paint it and just do some light, some very light terrain applications, like maybe throw on a little bit of flock or something like that. That'd be all right. But I do when I do use this, I use Mod Podge on both sides to help keep it sealed up from moisture and the like. But overall, I mean, you get a good sized pack of this stuff off of Amazon for not a lot of money, and I mean, it's good thick material. It's got, like foam board, it's got a lot of good uses throughout the crafting process and such. So no, and if you want a good example of this, look at Eric's Hobby Workshop. He does a full build with just cardboard like this, and he makes I-beams and all types of stuff. Very interesting, very, very interesting stuff. So check that out. If I can figure it out, I will put a link to that video in the description below. I am still learning all this stuff, so please bear with me, and over time things will come, but it's just a very, very slow process. So medium weight chipboard, not bad. Got a lot of utilities. Basic material, not so much. Not for me. Not in the type of terrain making I do mainly for the big tabletop stuff. D&D, I'm going to play around with it, see if I can get it to work for things that are less important for, like in a D&D setting and stuff where I don't need big sturdy terrain that's going to weather, like taking it to a convention and have 20, 30 guys rolling miniatures and throwing dice at it and stuff like that. So that's something to consider as well. Um, and then I got into using hardboard. This is the back of your clipboards, right? This is compressed cardboard. It's a layer of cardboard and glue and pressure, and this stuff is really good to use. I have had some warping issues with it, not much, but it is there. So, fairness to say, but this stuff is solid. It is nice to work with. In order for me to use it with as less hassle as possible and stuff, I use power tools with this. This is the only downside for this for me, because when it comes to cutting shapes and stuff with this, it's just easier for me to go through with the power tool, a jigsaw or jigsaw, saber saw, something like that, and to cut this stuff. Now to bevel it, you can use a knife. If you have Popeye forearms like I do, you can do it. It will take you time. I would rather just go through with a palm sander and just power through it. But for the love of everything, please have on a mask, a good one specifically for dust, and have on some safety glasses when you do it, because this stuff will blow like nobody's business. This stuff is, it's, again, you're going to be the inhalation of the cardboard and the glues and whatever other type of nasty stuff they got in here. You don't want in your lungs. I probably inhaled too much of this stuff over the years because just not thinking, being in a big damn hurry for no reason. So hardboard, I've never crafted with it as far as aside from just basing. Probably just because it's just too difficult to work with outside of a basing for me. If I had a full shop set up instead of grabbing stuff out of my storage shed and hooking it up on a table and dragging everything out and hooking and everything up and running power and all that, maybe. But if I can't move through it relatively fast, then not interested for as far as crafting goes. Plus, there's a weight issue. One of the main benefits with this is that I can get a 3x6 sheet of this stuff for $10, something like that, $10-15, and I got a lot of material that I can use this to base with. So it's easy to cut. You just have to, it's like MDF, which is a product I've never used, but bear in mind, this is going to require some time and effort and tools and power. And in my case, I'd have to have a sunny day like today, finally, where I can go outside and do all that. But yeah, good material though. I do like it. This is one of my go-to materials. But my final one is one I've started using here the last 3 years. And this is expanded polyvinyl core. Okay. It's basically it's PVC covered foam board. This stuff is great. It has the same hardness like foam board or like cardboard does, but it can be cut with a Olfa knife. Those of you not those of you not familiar, this is an Olfa knife. Well, the first time I heard the term, I was like, "What the hell is that?" Because again, it's just not common to me what that is. So I have an Olfa knife, and the ratchet right there for safety issues makes a big difference for me, because I know once I set that blade at a certain height, it's done. I don't have to worry about it about the whole thing sliding on me, getting too long all of a sudden and snapping, and then cause myself to get cut or what have you. So Olfa knife, if you don't have it, look into it. It'd be a very handy tool to have. and the blades for these tend to be very, very, very sharp. So, yeah, if you like scars, don't pay attention when you're using it. If you do not like scars, then pay attention when you use them. Had a snipple. So, but if again, this is one you can find this on Amazon, $15, I think. But in my mind, well worth the money. And once you, like I said, once you get things put in place, I feel a lot more safe and secure than one of the ones I've got like down at Ace and such. I don't feel safe using them, so I don't. And yeah, I just won't. Sorry, I was turning more than just the basing material, I guess. That's what happens when you get old. You start rambling and start talking about stuff. All right, this stuff here, this stuff bevels very, very well. You can bevel this with an oval knife, and you can draw and cut shapes with it. I have not used this to create structures with, mainly because of the cost. These cost a little bit more. I have found the only place I've been able to find them is on Amazon. But I have seen other people talking in different Facebook groups about finding these at some type of signage shops. For me, those are not readily available that I can find, and I'm lazy and I like to have stuff just sent to me. And it's the pandemic. Yeah, right. So, but this is something to consider. If you haven't, again, I think it comes in 3mm and 5mm. Is probably my the 5mm is going to be about your 1/4 inch thick, and that would be my I think that's what this is. So, but this stuff is pretty stout. Now, narrow thin pieces, it will warp a touch on you. I did find that I ran a line of duct tape along the back, and it kept that from happening. There's some brown packing tape that I want to try. I saw Mel Bowes use that, the Terrain Tutor, and that has that stuff doesn't look like it moves at all. Duct tape will move a little bit on you because it's got a little bit of flexibility in it. So bear that in mind. But this is, like I said, this is my go-to. This is the thing I want to use, or that I use the most. And it will, and to me, it's well worth the money because this stuff is consistent all the way across, and it bevels well, sands. I can tap a drill through it, and takes paint very, very well. It takes a lot of your other adhesives and stuff very well. I did find that going over it with with like some 220 grit sandpaper, wear a dust mask. PVC in the air, again, that's something you don't want in your lungs. Again, listen from the guy who's not been paying attention to the safety concerns for too many years. But definitely wear a mask when you're messing with this stuff. If you're going to use sandpaper, I use sandpaper anyway on this to clean down some of my bevel edges and to give the adhesives something a little more to dig into when I'm putting those on there. All right. Well, I think I've prattled on long enough, so I'm going to go ahead and get off of here and get this uploaded. Try and get my video out on Mondays. I will have something out probably another day or so, something I've been working on again, because the first thing I was working on went, so and that's just the way things roll. Oh, by the way, if it's if you guys want to see me do some miniature painting and stuff, by all means, let me know. I do. The next thing I have coming up after this next video post is I'm going to start doing some basic dungeon tiles. If there's interest for something other than that, it's not going to be horribly in depth. It's just going to be basics, how I create some dungeon tiles and then go from there, and leave you the techniques to develop the rest on your own, which is with all this stuff. But anyway, all right, I've rattled on long enough. I will let you guys go. Well, I've rattled on long enough. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.